You know what they say, special teams, special plays, special players, even though that quote has nothing to do with what we are talking about today. We're going to be going over the 2025 special teams for the Sam Houston Bearcats. My name is Colin Neal here for Sam Houston Sports Talk. Luke Scott will pop up here and there with some clips. We kind of had an original idea for what we were going to do with these breakdowns, but I decided to go with a different direction. Just not really breaking down every single player, but there's not that many players in this kind of area of the game, unlike offense and defense. But let's go ahead and dive into it. And if you haven't already, be sure you like and subscribe today. If you haven't to Sam Houston Sports Talk, follow us on all of our social media platforms. Subscribe wise, be sure you do, because we're trying to get to 250 subscribers before the beginning of football season, which is just days away. We're at 243 subs at the time of recording this. We're trying to get to 250. We need your 7 away. So be sure you subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell a stranger down the road. I don't care who. Tell them, hey, subscribe to Sam Houston Sports Talk. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the long snappers. Just a quick note, I could go into a little bit on the returner side of the game, but I'm kind of save that for the offensive breakdowns because whenever I was there at training camp, it seemed like that for at least the punt returns, it seemed like it was Tim Burge Jr., Avion Smith-Mack, Grady O'Neal, and Iman Allen that were getting reps. Not really going to dive too much into that until, at some point. It's just that returners are just kind of hard just to kind of evaluate and kind of see in a way. I mean, I see all those guys getting the job. But at this time, I can't really say anything on the returners. But those are the 4 guys I saw that seemed to have gotten reps when it came to at least punt returns. I just don't know much about the kickoffs. But yeah. So without further ado, let's now go ahead. Just wanted to go ahead and leave this quick note in the video. Well, we all know what long snappers do, right? They snap the ball from pretty good distance, punts, field goals. You know the gist. You got a returner in Carson Whittington, who transferred in from Blinn College before last season, and Jake Fitzgerald, who transfers in from Merrimack. Last year, the long snapping duties were split between Whittington and Zach Stricker. Whittington handled the punts while Zach Stricker handled the field goals. It was an interesting kind of situation. I don't know really much about long snapping, but I don't think that's as common as I think it really was. Stricker did have one more year of eligibility, but it seems like he stepped away from football. He stepped away on a high note, though. From what I remember from last year, I did not recall a bad snap in punt coverage from Whittington. There will be competition this year still with the addition of another long snapper in Fitzgerald, again from Merrimack. Fitzgerald was one of the most highly rated long snappers in the portal, according to Cole's Kicking, even was number 1 at one point. He did drop down to 3 at some point. I don't think he fell lower, but either way, if you're mentioned by Cole's Kicking in that sense, top 5, you're pretty good. He did place kicks and punts for the Warriors, so he has the credentials. At training camp, I saw a lot of Fitzgerald on the punts out, but that was when I was watching the special teams. I was also keeping an eye on a lot of things. I only have one pair of eyes, so I wish I could be focused on special teams, so closely, and also worry about other things that were going on. So I don't know if the duties will be split like last year, and I don't know the extent of the battle, how close it is, and whatsoever. But honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. I see Fitzgerald winning the job based on merit and accolades, but I also see Whittington winning based on experience and merit as well. Again, I really don't think you can go wrong either way. It's interesting to kind of really discuss this because it's such a small part of the game, but it is a battle nonetheless. And I like Fitzgerald. I like Whittington. I don't think you can go wrong with either way. And for the punter, this is kind of going to be quick. There's only 2 listed punters on the roster in Christian Pavon, who was mainly a kicker, but it seems like he can now punt as well. I saw him punt a few times. He looked pretty good there. I also saw Curtis Durand, a true freshman from Australia, and Sam Houston has some experience and some good luck with getting kickers from Australia, i.e., Matt McRobert. I think Durand is going to be the starting punter going into the year. He got a lot of work. I think Pavon though could make a decent case. I mean, I've only seen both of them a handful of times, so I'm not really too sure what to say more on the punting room as a whole. But I do think that Curtis Durand does have the position, and if it doesn't go well, then you do have Pavon to come in and handle the duties. I just don't think you bring in a punter like Durand, who seems to have some good credentials, to not punt. I think Pavon is going to be sticking more to the kicking game. Now let's get into the good stuff, which is the kicker position. And last year it was Pavon and Sessoms. Those were the two primary guys that everyone was looking at that were gonna get time, it seemed like, at the kicker spot. Pavon was probably gonna be looked at as the kickoff specialist, but Colby Sessoms suffered a season-ending injury in the offseason that just basically propelled Christian Pavon to become not just the kickoff guy, but also the place kicker of the Bearcats squad. And it started out really good. I mean, he won special teams player of the week in Conference USA a couple times. And in the first week against Rice, he kicked that, I believe it was a 54-yard field goal heading into halftime. And for his first field goal attempt in the season, and it looked really good. He showcased a lot of solid stuff. He made all of his PATs last year, but as the year went on, it just was not good. And I can't really put it in any way else. It was just not good. 14 of 24 on field goals overall last year. A couple of them hit the posts, the bars, and a couple of them were just misses in general. And on kickoffs, it was not good as well. He had 65 kickoffs last year. 15 were touchbacks. Only 15 were touchbacks, and 10 of those kickoffs went out of bounds. So I think Pavon still came in as the number one kicker coming into fall camp, at least if the kicker spot was not already determined. But I don't know. I mean, and Luke had these good points about Pavon last year and the kicking game as a whole, and also who he thinks is going to be the guy heading into 2025.
Colin, this was a guy that down the stretch, he was kicking one out of every two balls out of bounds, right? In his kickoffs and clutch field goals. You just never felt safe when he was out there. And I know he's hit quite a couple of game winners for us in the past, but this was a guy late in the season that you just didn't want to see out there kicking. And so much of it's mental, and you've seen the guy at his best, and you're like, okay, like this guy can obviously kick, and then you see it at other times, and it's so high and low, and that's a really risky game you want to play with the kicking. You mentioned a couple of the freshmen, right? And Nico and Tate Ryan. I don't know if Longo's going to want to trot out a true freshman out there kicking field goals in his first season. I don't know. I think it's someone's game to lose, and it's not like RJ Lopez was an absolute stud kicking out, at UCLA. It's just I think he's going to be your kickoff guy. I think he'll be your kickoff guy, but I just don't know who you feel comfortable taking place kicks at. Kicking is it's not as much as a physical thing, it's all mental, right? I mean, and when you're in a good spot in a good headspace, yeah, you can hit your kicks from anywhere, right? But if you're just seeing ghosts, and I don't know one thing about kicking, Colin, at all. But I do know is that it's got to be better than last year.
Now, my prediction was that RJ Lopez is going to be your kickoff specialist, while either Pavine remains your kicker, or even Tate Ryan comes in, or Nico Automanelli also, comes in, chimes in, and surprises. And again, I've not been out to training camp enough to really evaluate or say anything about either side. And RJ Lopez, though, was named to the Conference USA watch list for Sam Houston. This was a guy that was one of the best kickoff specialists in the country at one point, especially at UCLA. And I mean, if you take out the 2020 season where it was RJ Lopez's true freshman year. In 2021, 2022, he was again one of the best kickoff specialists in the country. He had 81 attempts in 2021, 91 attempts in 2022. In 2021, 64% of his kickoffs were touchbacks. In 2022, it was 66%. And across those 2 years, only two kickoffs he's had went out of bounds. And he was really good as a guy. And that may not matter so much, but it does, especially after last year where the defense was constantly already kind of playing with their backs more close to the wall, in this case, the end zone. And I'm not saying that Pavon is exactly going to be going out there and doing the same thing. I mean, a whole offseason, he got a lot of work on. He could change his mechanics up a little bit. And as Luke said, it's all mental. And I also like the point that Luke made that is Longo going to trust, freshmen to, go in and, be that guy unless, I mean, in my sense, unless he looks really good. I mean, Manelli and Ryan look good on film, of course. Ryan was one of the most highly rated high school kickers in the country, and especially in Texas. But in my opinion, I think this year's theme with the team is experience, and I think that they are going in the coaching staff in this case are going to go with the experience with either Lopez or Pavon. But just judging at the fact that Lopez was named to the Conference USA watch list, again, even though he did not play for Purdue last year and he went 6 of 11 from field goal range in his only year as a place kicker at UCLA in 2023, I think Lopez may be the guy. Now, that's not saying that Pavon is not going to retain the job. He still has a decent chance. I just haven't seen enough to, again, really make a judgments on either side. I'm just saying that it looks like RJ Lopez has the job. So we'll see. And we will only see when that first two deep depth chart comes out. And again, we are just days away. So we'll find out rather soon. That does it for the special teams breakdown. If you like what you saw, what watch as a whole, I should say, be sure you like and subscribe to today's Sam Houston Sports Talk for all the Bearcat talk and content. Football season is almost here. Watch out for offense and defense breakdowns in this same sort of format. And I hope to see y'all there as well. As always, eat 'em up, cats. Have a great rest of your day. And again, Bearcat football is almost here.